We are recording. It's going to be on YouTube in a couple of days. Thank you, everyone. I think we are good, so that's useful. Welcome to James. No, he's not here yet. He's outside still, but we have a lovely guest speaker with us. We have some members of the general public with us as well. I will just read the traditional blurb for that. Public are welcome to attend the meeting in person or by virtual link to observe or ask questions of the committee on matters that are contained within the agenda. The question should not be a statement nor in several parts, and it would be appreciated to be kept short. Hello, welcome.
Welcome, James.
To maximise time for other questions, there is no right of reply. I don't think we have anyone on Zoom. No. Lovely. We will take public participation then, please. You're up there.
Yours, Lynn.
Oh, thanks. I'd like to present a question, if I may. And I've made a few copies for people if they want to refer to it in, if you don't mind. Basically,
Leo, can I just ask you to speak up for the microphone?
I will do.
For the public record, please. Thank you.
Yes, I was going to question is, why do East Grinstead Town Council appear to show minimal concerns and involvement over the proposed 20 to 30 daily trips of 40 tonne of 16-metre long HGV wagon moving through the local neighbourhood, each axle loaded with approximately 5.5 tonne each twin wheel, hammering out the fresh potholes, transporting 180,000 plus tonnes of waste clay soil and minerals to the Evergreen Farm over 36 months from September 2025? Or do East Grinstead Town Council continue to neither support nor object to this development with the respect of the impact imposed on the town and its residents? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am actually going to pass over to Councillor Whitfield, who I know has been had a few conversations with you earlier this week. So if you don't mind.
Thank you, Chair. And Councillor Gibson might also like to comment as a West Sussex County Councillor. We're lucky enough to have on this committee. Yeah, thank you for the question, Mr. Byrne. Evergreen Farm, I have been through the portal, the planning portal. So this was granted permission in the 9th of September 2022. It has the permission runs for 3 years. So effectively, if it hasn't started physically by September 25 next year, then it's timed out. However, as you'll be aware, I think it is a current valid planning permission for the capping of Evergreen Farm, effectively, which used to be, it's now disused tip, and it's been dormant for 30-40 years. And the landowner's aspiration is to cap it to make it safe and environmentally much more friendly, landscape it. I've been through the portal. There's a lot of documents on the portal. We have the planning reference. Nothing physically has happened in the last 2 years. There was a lot of planning conditions on the portal which I've been through. Lots of detailed documents are required by the applicant landowner before any physical start is made to be signed off by West Sussex County Council, who are the waste planning authority. Documents like construction management plan, which have got access routes, which have got section 59 road surveys, as you'll be aware. So I'm just saying this to give you a complete answer on behalf of the Town Council. Environmental impact assessments, validation reports, chemical reports, bat reports, all sorts of reports. It's a very, very detailed planning condition document. This Town Council always takes tracks particularly large planning applications, as you'll be aware, through our planning committee, essentially, which we're meeting on Monday, and tracks it very seriously, particularly in this instance because of the very likely impact of severe impact on Imberhorn Lake, which I know well. It's in my ward, and everybody in the town is aware of it, with the school, the rugby club, sports club, and the major restrictions on Imberhorn Lane, St Hill Road, St Hill Green, and the West Hope. Each of those roads are the nominated route for these lorries. a horrendous amount of vehicle movements, very heavy movements. So it will, when it does start, if it does start, need to be controlled extremely tightly. We, as a town council, will be, pardon my French, but all over it like a rash. One of the planning conditions is that the applicant has to nominate a community involvement officer, not an employee, it's an officer, so a senior person. And I would suggest that that person liaises closely with initially the clerk here and with other stakeholders. So I hope that gives you a flavour of the answer. It's around in quantity terms. If it does go ahead, it's 120,000 cubic meters of soil to be brought in, to be deposited. Each lorry basically takes 10 cubic meters in round figures. So that's a lot of lorries over a 2-year period. So it's going to be daily, Monday to Friday, for over 2 years. So, you know, it doesn't take the brain of Britain to work out exactly the impact that would have. But I have today emailed I think it's the agent on the application form, which is Fluid Mechanics Limited or something like that, and asked them if they're aware of the latest status of a site start or not. And when and if I get a reply, I'll pass that through to the town clerk and she will advise council and public accordingly. So I hope that gives you some sort of answer to your question.
Yeah,
thank you for your question.
Don't know, councillor, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I can support exactly what Councillor Whittaker has said. I sat on that planning committee and I voted against it. It passes through my district and also Jackie Russell's district. It is actually in Jackie Russell's district and she spoke at some length against it. I managed to get some minor changes to the frequency and the start time of lorries along it. I recall that the volume which is going to be taken there is equal, would have been sufficient to half fill Wembley Stadium, just to give you an idea of what's going there. The construction waste and its disposal is a major business. I hear what Councillor Whittaker said about the landowner's desire to cap it off and make it okay, but I think there were probably other factors involved in that as well. And yes, it got approved. As indeed, if you're familiar with it, there's an old sandpit down at Washington that you go down the A24. Just you won't see it, but it's behind the roundabout. That is going to have 225 lorries going into it and leaving it every day for the next 10 years in order to fill it back up with construction waste. So, you know, so I voted against that one, as you might have expected as well, because that was it's just impossible to ask the residents to take that. I recall it's 25 each way on a given day in the parameters. The thing that I would have said is that, I mean, I hear what you're saying about, potholes, and the Inverhorn lane does suffer because of the traffic that goes along it. It's going to suffer a lot more from construction traffic, but I think that we can deal with potholes. We've seen counties seem finally to have got on top of that problem. Certainly my experience within the district. The greater problem for me is that I asked for lights to be installed, and is it West Hoadley Road it's called, from memory?
Yes.
And I asked for that to be installed from the turn to Standen to the entrance into the, and I was turned down on that. That was, and what you can't do is old trick. You cannot condition an application to do something on land which is not part of the within the ownership of the applicant. So that was it. So my concern is, and I have tried reversing back out of there when I met a lorry coming, ironically on the day when the planning committee went to visit it. It is dangerous and there will be accidents.
It's too narrow for those
You
lorries.
are exactly right. You are exactly right. There was a lot of discussion about two lorries trying to pass on there and just the impossibility of it. Right. But yes, I mean, it's it's a poor outcome. It was recommended, and the rest of the committee voted, on the basis of that.
So thanks for flagging it.
Yeah.
We're monitoring it closely. We'll try and find out as much as we can and advise the board.
Thank you for raising it, that's very useful. Right, now to the substance of our agenda. Apologies for absence and substitutions. I don't think we have any.
No, councillor Belsey is not here, but I
Haven't got any apologies, no. In which case is then just to accept the minutes from the last meeting on the 12th of September. So I propose those, unless there's any.
I'll second those, Chair.
Do I sign that page? Action. In which case, up to Chairman's update information item, I'm very grateful. We have been prompted by our lovely clerk that we need to give some thought to our priorities, I guess, for the next 2 to 3 years. We've been asked for some thoughts on our kind of business plan, ways of working. It's going to be an agenda item on the next committee, so the 13th of March. I think it would be very useful if I could pick all the brains to share thoughts with myself and the clerk. We can think about what we would like to achieve. I thought perhaps the ways of working, I might pen a little paper and share it with you just to get the ball rolling. Please do come back with thoughts for the next meeting and we can sort of discuss the paper in the round. Item number 4, members' declarations of interest. Yes, Councillor Gibson.
I should declare I'm a member of Sussex.
Absolutely.
Councillors, I might say something.
Thank you. That's
And West.
Yeah. I wasn't planning on saying anything contrary to West Sussex this evening. Might do, actually, I might do.
perfect. Both are noted in that case. So item number 5 is police matters. Inspector Derrick was hoping to attend this evening, is unfortunately not able to, but has very kindly sent us a written report, which hopefully you've all had a chance to digest. There are a couple of points I just thought I'd pull out for everyone this evening. Inspector Derrick's comment that we remain at the lower end of the time scale in the whole of Sussex, which I know is reassuring, but he has highlighted some specific areas of note in his report this time, particularly bike thefts, which he describes as problematic for mid-Sussex. He notes that surrounding areas are far worse, which I'm not sure we take huge consolation in, but clearly there is. We don't want to be the best of it. But needless to say, I'm conscious also that the town mayor has raised it previously as well, and it has been noted for this committee previously, so one for us to reflect on. Once again, very sadly, he draws our attention to domestic abuse that's prevalent in East Grinstead, and they are frequently dealing with victims, his report. So, a great concern, and we're glad that you're very high on that. And I'd like just to note here that the police at Mid Sussex are considering new CCTV cameras in the Mount Noddy area that has been led by Sussex. So one for us to note today. I don't know if anyone has any comments before I pass over to Councillor Whittaker, who's going to give a little update on the meeting he's had recently. Is it Midtown? Midtown Group? Midtown Group.
3.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to say that we have a very active and useful group, the 3 Towns group, which is the 3 main principal town councils in Mid Sussex District, Burgess Hill, Hayward, and East Grinstead town councils. And this goes back over way beyond the past sort of 10 years and beyond. Meet every 3 months to have a formal meeting because the statistic that we say is that approximately 62% of the total population of the district is within those 3 sort of urban areas. So it's a very, and each of the 3 towns takes a chair position each year. It's East Grinstead this year. So in fact, we had the latest meeting last night, and it's just always good to compare notes with the other 2 towns and empathise, sympathise with similar challenges that we have on policing matters, they're clearly high on particularly sort of the ASBO kind of policing matters in the towns, which seem to be, the perception is they're on the increase, or they're not an increase, they changed in their format. Principally now with bikes and particularly electric bikes, they seem to be the mode of transport that is becoming an issue. So policing matters generally. So with the three towns throughout this year, 2024, decided that we thought it might be a good idea to request a meeting with the Chief Constable down at Lewes. So which we had on the 31st of October, about 5 weeks ago. So we met Chief Constable Joe Shiner and Rosie Ross, who's her assistant down at Lewes. Not just me, it was probably about 3 clerks from the three towns and senior councillors, 2 or 3 councillors from each of the town councils. So they had about an hour presentation and a general sort of discussion, a bit of a Q&A. So had about an hour and a half in total. Although Sussex Police haven't, and it was a really positive session, very good and very frank with us, which was great, which was very very refreshing. And they also they demonstrated they've got a new data and analytics system that they are trialling at the moment. It came in early October, so they haven't announced it formally to the public because it's not official as such. But they gave us a very good demonstration, and it tracks all of the data, call centre, in real time, and they go onto a big screen, and it's got lots of data analytics and pie charts and maps, and you can hone in on lots of different areas of police activity in a lot of detail, which was incredibly impressive. So they're still fine-tuning that system for about 3 months. I think it's one of the pioneering systems out of the 43 police areas in the country that they're doing this. So it's quite innovational, big investment in IT and technology for them. And it was very impressive. So a good session. It also shows, the fact that we do have very, very good access to Sussex Police when we need it. We're lucky in East Grinstead. We've always had excellent relations between the clerk and whomever is the senior police, either sergeant, inspector, sort of regional inspector. In this case, the latest one is Dave Derrick. We've had a series of over the years, and they've all been really, really solid and really good. And I took the opportunity to thank Dave Derrick for all of his work and the close cooperation that he gives this council to Joe and to Rosie at our meeting. So, I hope you can relay that back to Inspector Derrick. I'm hoping he's got that from his end.
No, he hadn't.
Oh, he hadn't?
We met him last week, and Sarah told him that, and he said, no one's told me. So
I'll leave you to
we have, yes.
tell him Happy Christmas on that. Yeah. So no, seriously, it's the communications that's key. He can't solve all the issues, but at least if he informs us and his reaction. So that was a good meeting, and it's nice to know that we have that level of access. Brilliant. And it's a very positive session.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to the report. Nothing. In which case, item agenda number 6, Queen Victoria Hospital. In which case, welcome. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm conscious it was 2 meetings ago where you last had the opportunity to present to us. The presentation today will be about the updated strategy and any other matters. When we are done, if there are any questions by the committee, we'll take them and just an open discussion at this stage. If that's, I understand you have a presentation, so we'll be taking the tech for a while. So, thank you again.
Fantastic. Chair, thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me back again. It's really important for Victoria Hospital, and it's an immense privilege that I get the opportunity to come speak with yourselves. So for those of you who haven't met me, I'm James Lowell, I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Victoria Hospital. This is Diane Talbot, who works with me. and supports me, and she's also joining this evening. So last time I came to speak to the council, we spoke about the strategy that we were developing, and our absolutely immense pleasure to be able to present the strategy that has now been approved and signed off by our board, which is a strategy for Queen Victoria Hospital for the next 5 years. And it's the first strategy we've had in over 5 years as an organisation. So this is critically important for us. And it really sets the direction of travel and going forward for the next 5 years. Can I move on to the next slide, please?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Taking minutes and moving.
Do you
Bear
want
with me.
to
I don't mind pressing the buttons.
the slides? Yeah, yeah.
Hit the arrow.
We'll do that, yeah.
Good.
So
Yeah.
what's critical for us as an organisation is we started off in April 2023, following the decision that was taken by our board and the board of University Hospital Sussex not to continue with a merger. And to then think about the future strategy for Queen Victoria Hospitals look like. We had a clear set of objectives that we established. We wanted to set out our role as an organisation, our purpose and our positioning, and also really articulate what clear identity for the organisation was. And that might sound quite strange actually, because people know Queen Victoria Hospital. But if you ever looked at our website, we asked people what we are as an organisation, you probably get 15 different examples of who we were. And actually, we were confused as an organisation. We couldn't really articulate to people what the organisation was, is, and what the future identity needs to look like. So we really wanted to make sure we were very clear on who we were, but critically what we were not as well. To have a strategic focus, to make sure there's a direction for patients and enablers for delivery of the strategy itself. And if I can go through to the next slide, please. We then set out to engage widely. Because what we really realised was that Queen Victoria Hospital went through some difficult times with regards to what was going to happen, what the future would look like. And at the heart of that, we realised there wasn't meaningful engagement with the staff, with the local population, and all the organisations we worked with. So we set out to engage widely, and we did. We had over 3,500 responses and attendances at our workshops we set up, and got information from different places. We worked with partners across Kent and Medway, Surrey Heartland and Sussex to really hear from them what they wanted from Queen Victoria Hospital and for the future and how we might develop that together. And we looked at our organisational alliances and who we worked with our commissioners, the integrated care boards, really hear from them what we wanted for us for the future. But also the cancer alliances, the 2 cancer alliances we work with, the NHS England team, so that was with the regional team, and also with the national team as well, to make sure we heard from them, and specialist commissioning. So this was critically important. Throughout the developing the strategy, I chaired a 6-weekly meeting with all those stakeholders together to make sure what we were hearing from our partner organisations was the same as what our strategic commissioners wanted, because a strategy would only really have any genuine ability to deliver if it was really what people wanted, not just what Queen Victoria Hospital said. And that was massively important. We were data driven. We looked at lots of information about the organisation, how we benchmarked nationally. We looked at standards of the care that we provide and also other organisations, and really held ourselves up against those to say where we were strong and where we also had weaknesses and areas we wanted to focus on to support. The case for change that we developed was based on strategic thinking of what was needed for the future. I personally went to meet with every chief executive officer from every acute trust in Kent, Surrey and Sussex a number of times to talk to them personally and really understand from them what Queen Victoria Hospital is and what they want for the future. And that was really, really important. So we had a strategy built top down, so we looked at the national context, sideways on from cancer alliances and other partners, but also bottom up from our staff and our patients, and especially local primary care and other providers. And we really worked to make sure that we understood what everyone's wants and hopes for the organisation were. So we brought together this strategy. Can we get the next slide, please? So the case for change was driven by making sure we had a clear identity as an organisation going forward, have a strategic focus, and we were very clear on our role, purpose and positioning as an organisation. Then I can just go on to the next slide, it would be helpful. So shifting our role, we want to make sure we were looking up and out, and not just inward focused.
Projector is too high.
I can see it beautifully, but
Fantastic.
maybe I do it. Yeah. I just click through.
Oh,
We don't miss the top. There we go. It's just the top bit.
Super.
There's one more step.
So we wanted to make sure we had a clear focus for the organisation, and that was supported by our 3 integrated care boards that we work with. Sussex obviously being our host integrated care board, because that's where we physically are. But obviously lots of work we do is for Kent and Medway, and also for Surrey. So we wanted to make sure we actually had buy-in and work with them, and our specialist commissioners, people that commission our services from people that are sent from all over the country to us. And we wanted to make sure the culture we have of delivery and integrating our leadership was core to what we set out in the future. But really to talk about what type of organisation we are, because we're not a district general hospital, we're a specialist hospital, and actually we needed to articulate to people we're a hybrid organisation, is what we actually realised. So we're a specialist trust that provides services nationally. We're a centre of excellence for services we provide for Kent, Surrey and Sussex. And we are a local provider of services for the people of East Grinstead. And actually, when we as a board articulate that, people could then start to understand who we were as an organisation and why it was so confusing to some people, because we are a different organisation depending on who you are and who we're interacting with. And for us to say that for the first time was really powerful. The setting out what a centre of excellence actually is was also very important, because we use the word centre of excellence as a terminology, but we weren't really clear on what that meant to people and what does it mean to be a centre of excellence. And we worked with our clinicians and our partners to really set out what we mean by being a centre of excellence. And then our local offer for QBH at East Grinstead, and this is critically important. So I've gone to the next slide. And this is a way of us trying to show that centre of excellence for our reconstructive and specialist services we provide through East Grinstead as our main hub. But we also provide QBH at and integrating our services. We supply staff that go out to Kent, Surrey providers. So we've got QBH at different hospitals, but we weren't really clear on that. Also, we have surgeons that travel and operate in different organisations. And I was really struck when I went to visit some of our surgeons who work in Medway Foundation Trust down here. And when I spoke to Ken, and the surgeon that he operates with, and they operate together, the other surgeons employed by Medway Foundation Trust. And as I was talking to them, they're a team that have been operating together for 20 years. And it really struck me that actually we don't celebrate that enough. So when we talk about partnerships in the NHS, actually it's something that's in the DNA of QBH, and we've been doing for many, many years. And that was really powerful to pull out. So we've got a centre of excellence for our specialist reconstructive work, QBH at, where we have staff that go to other places, and our local services. Our community diagnostic centre that we are starting to provide services and we're looking to build, which I'll come on to in a while. The surgical and the medical support we provide in partnership with local primary care. So I'll go on to the next slide. As part of developing our strategy, it was really important for us to understand who we are as an organisation, who the staff understand the organisation to be. And we realised we haven't refreshed our vision and values for about 10 years. So it was a great opportunity for us to work with other staff to hear from them what the organisation means to them. We also got all the feedback independently analysed by a research organisation. So we didn't read into what we wanted to in the feedback we got, because there's always a danger when you get feedback, you pick out the bits you want to hear, and you might then discount the other bits. Not on purpose. So we actually got that independently analysed, and we published that publicly. So all the staff got to read the feedback and what it meant, and that was underpinning. And the future clinical strategy really is for QBH to be a centre of excellence for reconstruction and sleep, and to provide an offer to local people. And that came across really strongly. And we'll have 3 areas of focus: a centre of excellence, where we really do provide high-class, world-leading care. And that's where we come from, and we will go and do. The holistic needs for both physical and psychological needs for our patients. And that is massively important to us as an organisation. We talk about mind and body now in the NHS, and we're bringing those two things together. And you know what QBH is founded on? When our Rob McKinder went into the local town and spoke to the people to say, I need you to help me rebuild the lives of the service. That was the sort of start of mind and body coming together. And that's actually been in our DNA. And it was really striking when the chief executive for NHS providers, Julian Hartley, came to visit us. And he spoke in his blog about how it really struck him about a multidisciplinary team way of working, all the people working together in the organisation, but also how we were so centred on the physical and the mental well-being of our patients. And that was really nice to see, because actually it wasn't just us saying it, it was other people recognising it. And then service integration, to make sure that we provide care closer to home and support providers in the provision of care that is strengthening by working in collaboration and carrying on with that great history of collaboration and support. So I'm on to the next slide. I haven't got many more slides, so we've got a question to see. So the strategic focus on direction of our patients. So quality is our highest priority, and we've heard that, and that comes across in our main strategy. And strengthen the compliance in regard to national best practice standards. So there's some parts of our services that we call are in derogation, so we don't have certain elements of care. It's not uncommon to NHS organisations up and down the country. but we've recognised where we haven't got certain elements of some of the services we provide, how do we strengthen that part of our service to make sure it is robust and we do meet the standards we need to. And that's also part of our local provision as well. So how do we get more medical support and surgical hospital? That's part of what we're working through. Develop new service provision for children to look at the offer we have for children's services, what we provide here, and how do we do that better in the network. And develop a clear delivery of QVH local, and this we're really excited about. Actually, it's always been there, but this is a real focus for us as an organisation to develop that strategy, working really well with primary care. When we were taking our strategy to be signed up by our board, I went to all of the provider organisations and asked them for a letter of support. So it was really important for me that we've done a lot of work to engage, actually to get those letters of support from different organisations was really important. And what made me smile a lot was the first letter I got back, literally then I asked for some more local GPs. And that just said it all for me, that how much the work we've done with them and how much they're really brought into the strategy. And it was fantastic to see. And we will carry on with that with our QVH local and making sure that holistic care really stays front and centre of what we're doing. And we're also working with the Mental Health Trust in Sussex. So how do we strengthen our partnerships and work well together? And that was, and we got a letter from them very quickly as well, which was also great to see. Developing that operating model on the pathways to optimise the patient experience, to make sure that patient care for the resources that we have is well deployed and well used. We've got a strong financial base at the moment as an organisation that we're really proud of. We want to make sure we maintain that and making sure we've got the best pathways in patient care that we can. We'll make sure that we do that and then strengthen the resilience we provide through the fragile regional services and making sure we bolster those who are the staff coming through. So that takes me on then to the Community Diagnostic Centre, QVH. And again, I'm really, really proud to say that community diagnostic centres have come out from previous reviews and they provide a broad range of elective diagnostic capabilities away from acute facilities. And this is massively important for making sure we bring down waiting lists, make sure people from primary care can access fast diagnostics that are contemporary, that then we help diagnose people faster and we can start to treat people and get them into care quicker. There's 170 CDC sites, community diagnostic sites across England, and East Grinstead was picked as one of those places that would benefit as a locality from having a CDC. So we have been awarded £8.6 million worth of national funding to build a community diagnostic centre on the East Grinstead site. And working with our primary care companies, this is why it's so important to make sure we've got the right pathways in place. What do I mean by that? The right type of diagnostic services that our local GPs want that we can provide from our CDC. And that's what we're building, to making sure we've got the right capability there. What we then have is diagnostic imaging, so more imaging, more access to imaging quicker. We've got physiological testing that we will be providing as well. And some we've already started, so teledermatology we've started. The breathlessness pathway, bringing together people that suffer with breathlessness, who especially for our sleep physiology is really important. And we're also now developing non-specific cancer diagnostic pathways. And we're trialling that on behalf of Sussex to make sure that people can get access to quick cancer diagnostics. So they might not be able to wait longer. Ophthalmology and heart failure and other pathways we're looking at, working with primary care, so obviously we need for the local population. And how can we make sure that we use that money that we've been awarded to build a diagnostic centre that benefit people of East Grinstead, but also critically working with primary care. We're also looking at joint posts where we can employ people together. So you might work in a GP surgery and the community diagnostic centre together. So it's not different groups, and these are teams coming together. Also working with people we have in Victoria Hospital now. There's some quotes we've got there from people that are already starting to use some of the services in the past we've got. It's really, really welcome to see that people that want to use the services can. GPs can refer in, and the waiting times are coming down. And they're receiving the same quality, high quality of services that we have at East Grinstead. The issue we have, clearly, as you'd expect, we're going to be building a new building on the East Grinstead site, or Queen Victoria Hospital site. And we've looked at about 9 different locations. And for various reasons, affordability, access, and the time that we have to actually spend the money that we've been allocated, because it's not 8.6 million forever. We have to spend it in the next financial year. And we have looked at the different options in site. You can go to the next slide. And this isn't one that is massively popular, because people that know the East Grinstead site will know the Jubilee building. Some people love the Art Deco building, and they love the lawn, and it is fantastic. And unfortunately, that is the only site that we can use, or the only place we can use on our site, that we can spend the money in the time we've got to build the diagnostic centre. We've spoken with our staff at length about this, and we've also spoken with the local population, people that live across the road. And we've put leaflets through people's doors. We've had some sessions where we've invited people in, and I've explained that we could have found another site. We could have put the CDC on in the hospital grounds and built it in the time frame we had with the money available to us. We absolutely would have done, but unfortunately, it was the front was the only place we could, and it was either the left or the right. We've chosen to the right for two reasons, two real main reasons. One, there's already an access car park there, and so the road access is already built. And we wanted to save the Christmas tree, truth be told, because that Christmas tree is beloved by a lot of people. And I definitely didn't want the Christmas tree to disappear. So that was the two reasons. It could have gone to the left and the Christmas tree would have disappeared. We will re-provide the green space we have there elsewhere on the site. And we're already clearing some of the older buildings that we needed to make sure that we have space and lawns. And we have gone for pre-application planning application already, and we've had some really helpful feedback about the designs we've put forward. We tried to make them sympathetic, so they look in a similar Art Deco style. And as you look across the road, you won't see the whole CDC because of the hedge. You'll just see the top of it. And we're speaking to the people that live across the road, and they're not enamoured by the idea of having that built there. Of course, they wouldn't be, but what they do understand, I haven't, and we'll have more conversations, is the benefits we bring to the local population, not only in quicker diagnostics and support for primary care that really needs it at the moment, but also in jobs and opportunity that will bring to the local population as well. We'll be able to have more apprenticeships, we'll be able to employ more local people, and that's a good thing for the local population. So whilst I understand it won't be popular, I'm hopeful that people will understand it is for the benefit of East Grinstead, and it will be the right thing for us to do as an organisation. So we've got planning application going in shortly in January, and we're on a really tight timescale. If the planning application doesn't go well, the timelines might not be deliverable, and we'll have to go back to the national team to talk to them about that. We've had to give them guarantees that the timeline we've got is deliverable, subject to the planning application being granted. If it is, we will be able to build it. If it's not, the chances are we might have to be £8.6 million back to NHS England, and they won't extend that because there'll be other places that want the money. Up and down the country, we had to bid, and we were successful. That doesn't mean we'll get to keep the money forever. So this is really critical for us to make sure we do the engagement well and people understand the benefit of the organisation. So there's our timelines. We're looking to put the full planning application in January, so it is really tight for us, but we are confident that we take on board the feedback we've had, and we work with people that live across the road in the local area, and then understand that this is the right thing for the local population. And if we do get planning application, and when we submit it first time round, we'll be able to meet the timelines, but it is very tight. We've gone for a traditional brick build rather than modular building because we know that will be better and that will last longer on site and we'll be able to utilise it. So happy to take questions. Thank you.
Thank you. That was an extraordinary presentation. It was really detailed. I'm so grateful for the time and effort, and obviously a huge amount of work has gone around it. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions on the plans as well, so I'm throw it into the committee.
Thank you, James. Really interesting to hear from the last meeting, the journey that you've been on. An incredible amount of work and engagement. Obviously, I've just got a question out of interest with regards to strategy, because strategy is obviously all about choices, what you choose to do and what you don't. As you went through the journey, was there anything from QEH and the organisation that you decided not to do or to stop doing, and what impact do you think that will have?
That's a really important question. That's one the board have asked from the start. What are you going to stop doing and what will be different? And I think it's really important when we went through the review of the services that we provide, what we realised is financially they're not done. So actually our services are on or just below the national median for cost. So that's a really important factor, as much as that to provide the services we do across the country. And that's a really helpful thing. And it's then about actually what's our core purpose. So what we said we won't do is we won't start to diversify. We won't become a district general hospital. And that might sound obvious, but we've never said that publicly. So we're not going to start doing government logical operations. We won't start doing, hip replacements. That's not the business we're in. That's not our specialty. So what we said is we're not looking to take on different specialities. What we would consider are things that complement the work we do at the moment. So the head and neck services, for example, there's a big need for ENT. There's more need for obviously cataracts and sort of the high volume, lower complexity work.
Yeah.
Might be areas that we look at. And of course, the NHS never stands still. So there's reviews. Obviously, the Burns Network, we look at Burns services across the South East, and we're part of that. We don't know what that's going to show. And also, we'll be always looking at how services are provided. So as part of our provider collaborative work, we know things won't be the same in 10 years' time as they are now. But what's really important with our strategy, which is a very clear focus and direction, and where we want to be part of those conversations about developing services for the future.
Thank you.
Councillor.
Councillor Barnes, actually.
Okay, first of all, as a declaration of interest, I am on the books with a couple of the specialists in the QEH. So I am not just a user of the minor injuries unit. I've been there plenty of times, along with everybody else. But I'm a patient of QEH ongoing. Yeah, one of the questions I was going to ask has been asked. What's the risks to current services? So that, I noticed you did mention Burns, and that's being considered elsewhere. Obviously, one of the areas of that this is highly thought of, and the rest of it's for the QH is concerned. I am perhaps not surprising one of the ones who doesn't have a location for the new building. Not being a worse position on the site, to be honest. Probably in front of the historic building. As opposed to sticking it on the presumably swapping car park or something else, but it's alternatives, isn't it? The car park and moving, which would then at least be have the opportunity of being a temporary arrangement or not. Around building what's there is there forever. So the choice being given to us is a good facility in a bad location, or no facility, isn't it? Which is a rather unfortunate choice was to face.
Was there a question particularly? Just general, that's absolutely fine.
I was going to declare interest, but also, and the question has been asked. The question was asked.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you again for coming in. Absolutely fantastic. Very exciting. Can I just ask with the diagnostic centre, which I'm very, very supportive of. You mentioned the GP contacts, which is critical for our primary care network. You've clearly got extremely close working ties. Dr. Patel, particularly from Motor Surgery, has been a great supporter of this committee and this town council for well over 10 years. Is it a fact that the new diagnostic centre will have the active support of the GPs? You know, will they have a facility? Will they be able to use the new diagnostic centre when it comes on stream?
Indeed, and that's the point of QVH Local. We are working with Dr. Patel and colleagues on how we use the facility and how we start to make sure we've got teams that work together. So there will be treatment rooms and diagnostic rooms in there. And it could be that primary care choose to have some clinics in there as part of that diagnostic. Also think about how we employ together, and that's really important for all of us to think about what type of staff do we start to employ, maybe jointly. Actually, that are our teams rather than working for GPs and working for QVH, and that's really exciting. Actually, I think Nash is features in the strategies on the photos. You can actually see him in there in the engagement sections.
Sure.
So he doesn't do. But we really want to develop it genuinely in partnership. So that whole engagement bit for us, co-production, is meaningful, because if we don't do it, it won't work for the local population, and it certainly won't work for the
And
GP.
can I ask will the same access be afforded to modality, for instance, who is obviously
Absolutely.
you will know, which is a great aspect. And just a comment, if I may, Chair, in planning terms, obviously, good luck with your planning application. And quite often all planning applications are tricky. They have their pros and cons. But in this instance, sometimes when it is tight, you have to look at the public benefits and do they outweigh the planning technicality negatives. And I think it's fairly clear in this instance, the huge potential public benefits that this facility will bring.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Gibson.
Yes, thank you. Very good presentation. I thought very interesting. I think it is worth a comment that primary healthcare in this district is still in some disarray. We have the QVC should have revisited modality, I think, about 9 months ago, and have not yet done so. But I can't imagine that they will be a better bill of health, unfortunately, which I guess is why they're not going back, because there is no plan B. So it's great to see that you're offering QVH local. I've got a question about the diagnostics centre. I've had some medical investigations. But the hospital I've been going to has, it seems to have diversified out into shopping centres, places like that. So it gets sent to places like Red Cross. And that's just so all they're basically doing is basically doing monitoring and bits and pieces. And I just wondered whether that had figured in your thoughts of the way to do this. Couldn't we have seen it down on the high street where we need adding attractions down there in order for people?
Yes, that was part of the earlier consideration. So this is the first part of where we put CDC and what would it look like for the local population. I think the co-location of minor injuries unit and led us to have the CDC cited here as part of that local offer, because it's not just the CDC that we're developing, it's what we do through minor injuries unit. And how does that also develop? Just the co-location those.
Okay. Yeah, so it was considered.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was considered.
Because there are models where you have these things on high street, other
And
countries.
indeed, it seems to work perfectly fine. So you can do some shopping and get a coffee.
And it's the breadth of services we can and can't provide from different locations. Absolutely.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I hope you will revisit us again before too long. Conscious we've got a very busy start to the new year ahead of you. So thank you again. Do feel free to depart if you'd like to. Otherwise, you're very welcome to stay with the meeting. If you'd like some final.
Again, thank you very much for coming in. With the planning application, you'll be aware that this town council has its own planning committee, and we'll come to this planning committee once it's validated. The district council the opportunity to come and do an initial presentation to that planning committee. Maybe not a planning application, but a few images, maybe answer a few questions from councillors, and it's a good way of disseminating to the public your early new year plans. So if you wish to take that, just contact Sam, the town clerk. And I'm sure the chair of the planning committee will take due cognizance of that request should it come.
Very kind, thank you.
Thank you
Absolutely,
again.
we'll take it.
It's something we do for a lot of applicants, not just you.
Very kind.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Happy to answer the question you've got outside, if that's okay.
Thanks.
Agenda item number 7 is messages of hope. We discussed this at the last meeting as well, and we have some examples which have been kind of included in our. I think we're just for noting here, to make sure we have on record that progress is being made. I think they're looking wonderful. Really thrilled, and I'm very conscious that these have the ability to really substantially and meaningfully impact people's lives. And they look wonderful. So just for noting, unless anyone else has any comments, but I'm very grateful to the clerk and everyone who's been involved in moving that.
Did we get anywhere with the telephone?
I'm not sure, actually. I don't
Can we
know.
look at that? I mean, I'm happy to take it with West Sussex if it's.
Yes, it was. We touched on it at the last meeting. I don't think it's included in the, so I can't, I'm afraid, give you an update today.
Yeah.
What's the telephone?
The telephone was a line to Samaritans or something on the bridge, in the same way that Beachy Head. I think Beachy Head used to have one, and they decided that.
So I seem to recall, though I could be wrong, we'll have to check the minutes, is that the outgoing town clerk had said it's a complexity because it's not our bridge.
Yeah.
And so that it would be an action to raise elsewhere. So perhaps we'll pick that up. So it seems like a sensible one to explore. Do you have anything? Oh, lovely. In which case, on to item number 8. Again, it's included in the report. The committee has been asked to make a resolution regarding the use of the funds from the DFID budget. Just for clarity, they aren't asking for a different fund, but they are asking for the restrictions on use to be changed. So at the moment, they're allowed to buy batteries and electrics with the money that is allocated to them. But what they'd like to be able to do is choose what they spend that budget on, essentially. So, I mean, I'm very comfortable with that. If others are, I would propose that we remove that resolution such as is and allow them to spend the budget.
I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you. All in favour? Wonderful. Alice is in attendance. I don't think there's anything else we'd like to pull out of the report. I suspect we'd like to touch on the youth club. That would be sensible. And I was going to just comment on the farmers market briefly because it came up last time round. I happened to walk past it today. It looked joyous. The Christmas tree was really busy. There were loads of people outside. It is delightful to have, and I'm really pleased. Thank you for putting that in the report.
Thank you, Chair.
Question 2.
So just briefly then, as I've said, the youth club is currently a huge success, which is fantastic. It's been so popular that we've moved to an every other week format, so that everyone gets a chance to come. And we've received some extra grants as well to buy the storage unit and do some more workshops and activities with the young people. And interestingly, the young people home location split is only 40% in Sunnyside. So we are seeing that 60% are travelling from all areas of East Grinstead, which I thought was quite interesting because we thought it might only be just very local because it is outside of the town centre. And I think that just highlights the need that there are no or very limited other options around town, that people are prepared to travel to this. And I hope in future we can look at how we can grow this, either have a second night or new locations.
So, Alice, it's brilliant that we've got such a strong uptake, because I remember there was a little bit of nervousness about when people were going to show up. Obviously, when people first signed up, they thought they'd be attending every week.
Yeah.
Obviously, with numbers being twice the amount, you've had to facilitate every other week.
Yeah.
Would we look at putting a second evening into a week so people could attend weekly? I know there's an on cost, but given that we've got underutilisation at Sunnyside, it's great that people have tapped into the need. And I just feel like we diluted the original by moving to every other week.
Yeah, we've done that purely because we did do that in consultation with the parents, because they found it quite stressful to sign up their young people that week, and then they're like, oh, we've missed a spot, we haven't got a spot, oh, it's so disappointing. So to kind of alleviate that we kind of said, well, there's an alternative that we moved to every other week, and that was decided that was a suitable option. I do know people would like to come every other week. Sunnyside Barn is available on a Friday night. Our youth workers are not available. So apart from the funding, it would be finding youth workers who could do another evening, which might be possible because we know of a few others. So, you know, if the funding is available, it's something that we can certainly look into.
Councillor Gibson. Yes, do I have to declare interest as a member of Worth Parish Council? become interested. Worth Parish Council have established a youth service.
Yeah, well, we've worked with them
And-
to
and-
get advice, yeah.
And what I'm about to say is really, I think we need to look at coordination of these
Yeah.
activities.
Yeah.
This stems from the collapse of, what was it, Surrey?
Sussex clubs for young people.
That's it. Right, so we have got hold of, Worth, in terms of Worth, got hold of some of the kit. And also
Yes.
we employ Drew, the
Yes,
individual.
he's a possibility for coming over.
Well, I'd love
Yeah.
you to pay for part of his time,
Mm.
right? Because I'm looking at the budget
Yeah.
in Worth, which is,
Yeah.
as you imagine, although the aspirations there, so the clerks seem to be to push it to be about equivalent to the budget here,
Yeah,
which is quite interesting. But I noticed that we're paying about £50,000 a year for this. That is running 3 sessions a week, 3 sessions of, I think, an hour or 2 hours. In a week on 40 weeks.
yeah,
So if you start to look at it, we're paying upwards of £30 for a child because it's free.
yeah.
And I'm beginning to suspect we're going to have to look at this service
In Worth, you mean?
in Worth,
Yes.
with all the other things alongside it. I don't know. I presume we're not charging for the Sunnyside Bar.
No,
Yeah. So I just flagged, sort of, note of caution.
mhm,
And I think we need to look across all the parishes which are around here and see
Yeah.
what is the best way of running this
yeah.
post this Sussex.
So, Mid Sussex Voluntary Action, now called Community People, actually had a forum 2 weeks ago, and that brought together lots of different youth workers from the whole area, and we actually spoke about how we can utilise each other better and share resources, especially if someone's off sick. We can say, actually, hang on a minute, can one of your DBS check, train, blah blah blah, people come over and support us, can we support you, and how we can actually do that, because we all want the same thing, and to try and help each other in that way. So we are looking at it. And that was lots of different youth workers, district, getting involved as well.
Well, I would be quite happy to encourage children of East Grinstead to go to the Crawley Down sessions,
Yeah.
although there is only one Crawley Down session at the moment, which is a problem. Because my view is it's undersubscribed. That when you're only getting 10 through the door, there is obviously opportunity to that. So by all means, mention that the Crawley Down sessions exist, and indeed the Copthorne sections.
Yeah.
Perhaps some action then to sort of take away and come back to the next meeting on this. That's ways of working with these.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
Perhaps an action for us to take away from this evening, and perhaps
Yeah.
report back on is that sort of ways of working, perhaps some conversations with other assets we've got
Yeah.
in the vicinity that either in the short to medium term we can direct families who would like additional resources to, and obviously to some learnings and help to make sure we've got the right provision.
Mhm.
I think it's not a statutory requirement to provide it. I think that
No,
we should be, sort of, making a big shout and noise about, look, we're providing this. And so on.
yeah.
The other observation I've got, I noticed from the ages that you're dealing with slightly older ages, the Crawley Down ones and the Worth Parish ones.
I think they've started at year 5, and we've kind of gone in at around the year 6, although we're not doing year groups by school, because
No,
we're
I
not
appreciate
associating with schools, we're doing ages, but we're doing that kind of age 10 to help the transition to secondary school, because Worth Council specifically said that that was one of the tricky areas.
Yeah.
And if we start them kind of young-ish, then hopefully they'll grow with us. And we can have, hopefully, in the long term, an older group that will come, because they came when they were younger, because it's quite hard to engage the older group straight away. So if we organically grow that, and then we could potentially have an older group and a younger group.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. Just coming back on Councillor Gibbs's point about the collaboration. The clerks, I think, have a cluster meeting maybe twice a year. The clerks in the parishes around Westhope, Lyme, Worth, Julie certainly used to go to. I don't know if when the last one was, but that might be something. I don't know if you have input to those sessions previously when Julie was here.
Not really. But in that youth meeting, there were other town councils,
yes,
parish
just to
councils,
sort of compare notes with each of the parishes.
Yeah.
And And I think they were always pretty positive sessions, just an idea, but
Yes.
this idea of collaboration could be floated
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I also attended the Better Young Lives meeting at district as well, which again involves kind of everyone to talk about what is happening for youth and where can we go, how can we support each other.
And so a second point, which it came up in the Three Towns meeting last night, Emsford is changing, or has always changing their name
Misfit, community people,
to community.
Yeah.
So is that effective from sort of January?
No, it happened last
Oh,
month.
it's happened.
Yeah.
So,
Ian, just to pick up on your point about sharing funding and resources, obviously that is something we can look at, but we need to do that quite quickly because we're obviously in budget setting time right now.
Oh, I think we missed it this year.
Oh, it's not too late. For quick. Anything's possible.
there you are.
Um,
That's not another branch, I don't know what.
yeah, so it's something that we could maybe, if you wanted to, we could maybe talk to Worth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And see if their resources may,
They're very keen for us to take
Yeah.
some resource.
if we can get an idea of cost, at least we can present it in the
That would be a
budget.
brilliant idea.
And you can make a decision at that point.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, we have just about running out of time.
If we can't do it this year, it's very useful for us when we're thinking about budgets, to think about what we could achieve slightly longer term.
Yeah.
And I'm very, the sort of strategy setting to do this. And I'm very keen that this is obviously a triumph. So it's important that we continue to make it so, and that's the thinking about expanding.
Sure, thank you. SID update. So you've probably seen driving around, we've currently got a SID up on Holtai Road and on Dunnings Road. It's taken nearly a year to get all of this approved and get the installations and everything. So we do have the 6 sites now: Holtai Road, Dunnings Road, Lingfield Road, Woodbury Avenue, Escotts Drive, and Herentide. So they'll be staying up for about 3 months, and then we'll be moving around, and the data will be reported here. And then if people want to take it further, or if we can look at where it can go, I need to try and get invited to the Sussex Safer Road Partnerships meeting, because I think we need to share some of this data, because we've got this specific SID model that can record the data, and we need to get that out there and see, because it, kind of around 7% speeding of vehicles over 30 miles an hour. What is that compared to nationally? I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's my kind of action to myself, to look at that and take that further. And then we can really decide actually how is this helping, and what are the next steps on that.
I think that's very sensible.
So I just thought I'd update you on. Oh, sorry.
Yes, no, just come back. I mean, it'd be interesting to have the data for, if you like, daylight hours and night time, if it's available. Because that was done for Turner's Hill for a while. It was discovered that everybody went about 10 miles per hour faster at night. The other thing is that, and I raise this all over the place, but sort of the modern technology enables to have an ANPR display, which frightens the hell out of anybody who's caught. Well, you can't do anything about it. You can't send them a chit or anything. But do these posts have an electrical supply? They do. Yeah. Well, we should give some thought to whether or not it's worth the next time around, and we have to spend one of the 6 monies, that we purchase one of these displays with an ANPR, with the number.
Sussex Police specifically said that's not our remit, and we can't do that. It's up to them.
I know what
to put that on
Sussex
there.
Police said, right? And I know that as part of the, sort of the work that was done on the West Sussex Transport Plan, they promised to do something about speeding on the rural roads which connect our villages.
Excellent.
Right? So I think if we would put them frightens on
I hope that this data will help to support any case you want to make.
Yes, because it's just that this is an opportunity, right? And other councils do manage to do that in other police areas.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not suggesting that we actually use the information to send penalties out.
No, well, we can't do
But it makes people think.
That's a good point.
Okay.
There are about £25,000 last time I looked.
Bargain.
Put that in the budget too.
Yeah.
S106 grant. It's what we have S1. It's what we have S106 for, right? And we're going to have an awful lot of S106.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if we can get
Awful
through
lot.
the red tape of having it allowed.
yeah.
That's not bad.
Yes, I support what Councillor Gibson's just been saying. Really, I mean, we did raise the issue of more detailed subsidies at the time that
Yes,
this one was brought, because it would seem to be a local police policy. It's certainly not national rules that prevent them from doing it. It is a Sussex police do it one way. The county where I was living 2 years ago did it a very different way, and absolutely encouraged the SIDS that were placed in villages and whatever else to record the registration number of the ones speeding. I think they're only triggered. I said letters to them and not anything else, but it does give a warning. You know, people here sort of doing 81 miles an hour deserve a lot more than a letter through the door, never mind being ignored. You know, it is good to see it is a very small proportion that are substantially over the speed limit, 45 miles and 15 miles an hour. It's very, very small proportion, which is very good.
Okay. But it's 7% of the proportion, which I think is the word.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's about 0.1% that were over 45 miles an hour. So that is a very small proportion who are going, you know, extremely fast for the nature of the road. But yeah, it may well be so useful to get a difference nighttime, daytime.
Yeah, I think I can get that. The data's definitely there. It's just accessible. It.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Okay, Pub Watch. So as I mentioned, that the Pub Watch kind of imploded a little bit earlier this year, so myself and Donna Shaw from Mid Sussex have kind of worked together to try and get it back up and running, because we think it's quite valuable to have in the town. And I chaired the meeting today, which was very successful. We had a good turnout, which was really happy about. And people, apologies of people who couldn't come as well. So hopefully next month it'll be even better. But people seemed quite on board and coming together and just sharing anything that's happening in the town and supporting each other as they're all doing the same jobs. We went through the current band status. We've got elected a new chair, which should be a licensee holder, not myself. So I'll still be doing the kind of the admin and support, but they'll be chairing it. That's Darren from Dorset Arms, which is great. And we will be having a monthly meeting. We're going back to monthly meetings. So we'll be meeting in January to discuss how Christmas went. Hopefully everyone has a really nice, busy Christmas. Quiet on incidents, busy on spending. And in February, we're going to review the Constitution and make sure that our Pub Watch bans and processes and everything are where we want them to be, because each Pub Watch, although there's a national scheme, each Pub Watch can do things slightly differently. So the Constitution hasn't been looked at for a long time, so we're going to review that all in February. But yeah, I thought that all went really well today, so just wanted to update you on that. Our street pastors also attend the Pub Watch. They do a great job. They go out usually once a month around payday weekend to go and support anyone who finds themselves a bit too drunk and needing a bit of support. So they go out and look for people to support, which is a great service. They have also been doing a fantastic job with ASB around the atrium. They've been going out about twice a month at kind of after school time to try and stop groups of teenagers hanging around causing destruction at the atrium or any problems, and speaking to them, and it's been going really, really well.
Good.
So yeah, well done to the street pastors.
Good stuff.
Farmers market, I'm just going to jump to this farmers market. Yeah, it was looking lovely today, so thank you for noticing that. The farmers market stallholders are hardy people. They are out in all weathers. So it's great to see the town supporting them. Hopefully we've got a few more Christmassy stalls kind of coming in the next week or two. But yeah, it's small, but it is steady. So I think it's quite nice to be in, and we'll carry on in the next year as well. Everyone's committed to coming back. So yeah, great. Community and tourism desk. Yeah, in the library, we're always busy. Always got people dropping in with random queries, so that's great, and asking lots of questions. So on to Sunnyside Barn. Capacity is not where we want it to be, but obviously we haven't been open that long. We have got some very loyal, regular hirers, which is fantastic. And we have got an increased number of ad hoc bookings as the word spreads, birthday parties, various events. So that's great as well. So we hope that that's going to carry on. I think my point in here is just about how we're going to proceed for next year's bookings. And I don't know if we want to make a decision here or if that's going to go to A&T, but I think I have raised it here.
Yeah. So the recommendation
comments
here, there's kind of crossover in that the Sunnyside Barn is reported both here and at A&T, which is next week. But the recommendation is that the hire rates are not increased for next year. They are held. To be honest, I'm not entirely clear which committee has the power to make that decision. That's fine. So we will defer that to A&T next week. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't clear on that, so that was my error. Cool. That's it from me then. If anyone's got any questions?
Just a thank you for you and your team's efforts. Obviously, with the big reveal and Christmas lights, which was, despite all that, absolutely phenomenal performance. And this Sunday, is that still sort of on? Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for the big reveal and all your help on the night as well, and everyone else who was able to come and help. Tracy did a great job in the rain. Yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that. I have got a report which I'm going to circulate to all the councillors, and then the main report will go to A&T as well. So I will update everyone on all the ins and outs of the event. This Sunday is our Christmas market on London Road. However, again, we have been struck with a bad forecast. Yeah, it's not been a good year for the weather. So we are moving it indoors. So we've been very lucky that Glenview are available and have come to our rescue, and we are moving it in there. So same times, 11 till 3, Sunday the 8th, and we're getting stall holders inside and a couple of food vans outside. So it might be a bit of a squish, but I think it should work. We're just getting it all sorted out now, so it'll be a busy day tomorrow. But I think it's no. The road closure will not happen anymore because the winds are too high to have the gazebo. So I've made the call. We're not going to be outside, so it will be inside. Yeah. So.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone, for being so brilliantly nimble-footed.
Yeah.
Weather.
Some of the volunteers have got good waterproof, so we could be on the high street, sending people down to Glenview because
and I know that the week before the big reveal, the stress levels were off the scale because it was shall we?
Yeah,
nobody wanted to pull it. And you all did an amazing job and very courageous to stick with it and have boy, how did that play?
It's fine.
Well,
Thank you. I think that's as well the benefit of Alice's great relationship with her counterparts at Burgesson and Hayward Heath, because all three events were on the same night and you were all liaising, weren't you?
Yeah, it was nice to have that support to check everyone was on the same page.
Yeah, it was really, really
worked well.
Lovely. In which case we will move on to agenda item number 10, consultations. Just a couple of bits to note, the response that was submitted to the Mid-Sussex County consultation, which introduces fees on Sundays, bank holidays and evenings from 2025, together with a residence permit scheme for Queensway Car Park in East Grinstead. That was in our report. Councillor Gibson.
I feel like I should say something on this because I think I mean, I did send around what I consider to be an appropriate response, and I feel that this council missed an opportunity to engage with that, and I say that as a cabinet member. I think what was achieved, and you know, sort of, I'm very proud of the fact that we got these things were going to happen. There was no doubt about it. We got the Sunday charge down to £1. We got the we got it delayed, which is that, and also I'm particularly pleased that we've got because it was something that residents came to me during the general election campaign and made a specific point of that those in the controlled parking zone were facing an enormous bill on this. The annual permit, which does cost £54, but it will save them £1,300, and so I am pleased. Now, most of that was achieved because I engaged, and I think we could have engaged, we could have done far more. And I'm particularly keen that I mean, my vision is that we are going to see a constant increase of inflation for the future of this, but we do want to get rid of the differential. So I think that is where this council should be focusing from now on, that the differential is eased out over a period of time, because I think it was the one thing that stands out in retrospect. And we are going to get ANPR cameras, initially in Queensway and then more wider. That's been embraced. As a technology partner being identified. So we're expecting that to go in the first quarter of next year. And also the whole idea of a further deck on the Queensway car park. I'm not convinced that isn't going to look like an absolute monstrosity. But there will be some work done on that. And it can be supported by the usage of that. My own view from the many times I've passed that car park is that basically it's crowded for a short period on a Saturday. And I would hope that the ANPR cameras prove that to us. So I think that there's a future here, particularly with the way that the technology is going to enable us to adapt things. And I think this council should be setting aside, if you like, the politics of this, which I think is inappropriate for a council at this level, and engaging with Mid-Sussex in order to win that. Because I can tell you it's been a lonely experience in the cabinet for about the past 9 months.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, Ian, can I just clarify what you mean by differential? Is that between the other towns?
Yeah, yes, that there is a 20p differential on the first hour between here and Burgess. And that was based on analysis that was done in 2017 through 2019. And I think it's inappropriate at the present, sort of time as we've gone.
Thank you. Councillor Barnett, thank you. Did you want to add on?
Yes, I made myself unpopular with my party colleagues down in Mid-Sussex in the response I sent to the consultation, and I ended up having a long conversation with the cabinet member, because he'd seen various sort of responses from people. I haven't. I think the responses must have been aimed at, I'm objecting to this without actually sort of being too precise about what the issues were. And that conversation triggered I see what you mean response. The issue of the effect of people who've got on-street parking permits having to then pay for 2 or 3 hours in the evening. So I think he'd had responses that were flagging the issue, but they were more broadcast type things that were sent to him and put out into the public domain, rather than actual genuine conversation and meaningful discussion as to what the issue was. So I'm pleased with the outcome in the circumstances with that. I think that the one to be honest, the £1 on Sundays is a bit relative non-issue. Really, it's not a significant sort of impact on people. It's the cost of the evening and the differentials. So I mean the resolution of the problem for the town centre residents, who you and I both represent, is important, because I mean they're the ones who would be hit most by it, really. And it was something that could be done to try and get some benefit from that. And yes, in the longer term, as exchange, I think Rex and I had, Councillor Whitaker and I had, in the longer term, I think attempting to sort of unpick this differential is an achievable aim over time. Clearly, with the budget set last year, it's fixed. It's whatever it is. But over a period of time, we ought to be able to have some effect on that. Conversations with our own business association, Volunteer Business Association people, you know, that they were not uncomfortable with Burgess Hill having a cheaper car parking charge than the other two towns. They were not happy about the differential between Haywards Heaton and Scrinstead, because Haywards Heaton and Scrinstead are both reasonably prosperous, reasonably organised towns. Burgess Hill had got significant issues in the town centre, so that was sort of understood by them. So, you know, attempting to get some massaging of that, it's an achievable thing, I think, over a period of years, as the budgets change. And hopefully we can get some more.
So just a general point to sum up. Thank you, Councillor Gibson, for explaining and thank you for your efforts within Cabinet District Council over the year. And I know you work with the local EGBA. No-win situation. So I think, thank you for explaining. Two things here. One is we'd like to see the business case. The District Council, this came up at the Three Towns meeting last night, because I raised it. It was on the agenda, which was on the agenda. You know, we are where we are now. There's a budget, and we're into that process. We're into another budget. 2 points to it. One is we'd like to see the business case, whether it's AMPR, whether it's potentially a large car park or a different car park there or anywhere else. So, you know, I understand that business case has been commissioned, but as a town council, we would like to be formally consulted, and you know, on it when it's available. Can we please issue it to the town clerk, if that's possible? The second point is, and it came up last night, is the relationship between the District Council and all of the 24 parishes in Mid Sussex, but particularly the Three Towns, is crucial. And I think back in 2023, when the new administration came in, you know, there were lots of good messages sent and a lot of good work done. And as 2024 has kind of elapsed, that goodwill has kind of evaporated because of this parking situation that arose. So the town, all the three town councils want to work very closely with the district, but the communications does need a lot more work. You know, that all lots of councillors and other officers felt that last night. Meetings and discussions are ongoing, but you know, you are on the cabinet, Councillor Gibson. You know, you work very, very hard on that. So then, you know, various messages to take back. But for the new year, can we please try and improve the ambience between the district council and all parish council? Because sometimes it's very frustrating as a parish councillor, as we feel we're being talked at and not talked with and to. That's the end of my argument. But thank you for your efforts over the last year.
In which case, we're on to the final consultation point, unless there's any further questions. Lovely. Just to remind all members that their feedback relating to the public consultation to enable remote meetings and proxy voting is urgently required. Please do email the clerk with your thoughts. The closing date is the 19th.
Yes, I've had a response from nobody so far.
Bad idea.
I think there's just two matters. There is the obviously the remote meetings and the proxy voting, and I think they're definitely separate, very separate matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything else, I will. What time is it now? 8:26. I shall call us to a close.
So